really just to say that my name is Pam Bateman. I'm from Open Sight. We support people with sight loss across the county. Normally, in quite normal times, we would be doing what we call equipment and information days across the county. Unfortunately, because we're not in normal times, we are hosting a series of webinars. And this morning, I'm glad to say that we have been joined by Ben, and thank you for your contributions this morning.
That's okay.
But Ben, if you're able to, if I'm able to pass over to you now, then that would be fantastic.
Yeah, of course. So, although we're a little behind on time, I will sort of rattle through a few things and try not to be too boring in my presentation. But I'd just like to talk about a couple of the products and get on to sort of my role with Optlec and Enhanced Vision a little more when I need. And I will just be alternating between my front-facing camera and back camera to give you a perspective of the equipment. Okay, so you won't have to look at my face too much. All right. So I'm going to start by just switching the camera back to the catalogue, and I'm just going to align one of our products up behind. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is the Compact 10 by Optlec and Enhanced Vision. So I'm just going to move that back and just alter my angles there a little bit. Okay, so I've got the Optlec Compact 10 device just there, which is about the size of an iPad, which I'm working on at the moment. So it has a 10-inch screen, and at the moment it's on magnification mode, where it's looking directly down at our optical brochure on the reading chart. Okay, so at the moment we're just getting a little bit of reflection from some of my lights above us. So I'm just going to flip those ones off, and that will hopefully, that's better. I'll get a little bit of a sharper image on there now, rather than getting the reflections on the screen there. So this particular device is the all singing, all dancing version. So this one will actually provide magnification and text to speech in a portable item that is as I mentioned earlier, the size of an iPad. So at the moment it's just looking down on our sample text there, and this particular device being a modern device which launched last year, it came out just before the pandemic, so we didn't get to talk about it or show it off too much before the pandemic hit, and we sort of stopped going out visiting people, etc. So we're getting good about talking about it on videos online. Okay, so this being a modern device and is a touch screen device. So what that means, if you're fairly used to using a smartphone or an iPad style device, it means that you can use a sort of pinch mechanism to zoom in and out on a particular passage of text that we want to view. Okay, so this particular device does range in magnification from 0.5 times in its lowest level of magnification up to 22 times magnification. Okay, so it's a high definition camera. It's very, very light. It weighs under a kilogram, 915 grams to be completely technical about it. And it does have a 4-hour rechargeable battery built into it. So you charge it up like a laptop computer, like a phone, like an iPad or tablet device. So you can use it out and about in those days when we can get out and about, but easily around the home. And you can also pop it on charge and use it while it's charging as well. And it is available with and without the speech side of things as well. So I've just gone over a couple of things that with just the zooming in and zooming out using the pinch mechanism that we'd be used to if we're used to using a touchscreen device, that is. But if we tap the screen, we then get a bar appear, which can be tailored depending on what's our preferable black background color. So you can have the bar at the top and the bottom in black and white, or white on black, whichever is preferable for the end user there. Okay, and as I tapped the screen, it did time out because I didn't press anything else, so it disappeared after a few seconds. So you have to be relatively quick, but I think it gives you between sort of 6 and 10 seconds, but if you don't touch something before it disappears. But if you do wish for it to disappear yourself, you can just tap the screen and then it disappears. At the moment, it's hard to tell because it is looking at the page that's in front of it. It is on natural color. So we can override that with a color contrast. So just in the bottom corner, we've got 5 buttons running along the bottom of the device. And what I have done for one user that I saw pre-pandemic back in February time was that when they struggled with a touchscreen device, we did actually put bump-on strips, the stick-on bump-on strips, just on the bottom of the casing, just to make it that little bit easier for them to identify where the buttons were, and then just a fingertips distance above where we stuck the bump on, they knew where each button was. Okay, so that was just a little bit easier for them to use that way. And again, it doesn't affect any performance to it because it's just being stuck on the casing there, but for that particular user, it made things a little bit easier for them to be getting on with. So I'm going to tap it again, and running from left to right, we've got our decrease magnification button. So if I just tap that, it will go down in magnification, and in the opposite side we've got the increase of magnification, which will take things right up to the 22 times magnification should we need that level of magnification. Right, so just next to our increase magnification button, we have actually got our color contrast button, which will override the color of the font, okay, to make it stand out. So we've got our white on black, black on white, which is an artificial black on white there, just to make the white a little bit whiter, a little bit trickier to see on the video feed because it's just picking up a little bit of reflection on there, but it does make it an artificial paper white and that a little bit brighter. But I do come across a lot of people that are very sensitive to light, and they do find that artificial light a little bit too bright for them. But what they have actually built into this within the menu, which I will just bring up, is a brightness control. So we can tone it down. So if someone is particularly sensitive to light, you can just dim that just to take away the edge of that really, really bright white finish on there. Okay, so I'm just going to bump that back up just for the purpose of the video, just to make it that little bit sharper. There are 2 other controls just on the bottom. One is a camera symbol, which will just take a freeze frame of the image that's just there. And then there's a camera with a speaker symbol in the middle of it. Now that is where our text-to-speech function comes into play. Whereas the text-to-speech function, when it's in this mode, will only take a picture of what is on the screen at that time. But it can take a picture of a full A4 page, which I'll show you in just a few moments time. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom out and just go on to our menu feature. Just by tapping that bar again, we've just got a few basic controls in the first step of the menu. Okay, and in this first step of the menu, because this is the model with speech, there is a symbol of a speech bubble, and this is where we can change our voice from male to female, etc., and also between languages. So if we did speak several languages and had correspondence in different languages that we would want relayed back to us, you can also do that. You have also got a line marker. So when we go back into the page, you've got a line mark running across the screen, which is actually a white and a black line. So depending on what color contrast you have it on, I'll just change it to the black screen. That's now a white line, and then we go back to the next one, we change it there. So if we wanted to just follow something on a line, you've got that control there. The other symbol that's really nice is our battery symbol. We've got 5 bars in the battery symbol there at the moment, which indicates it's full. And as I mentioned earlier, a full charge lasts for around 4 hours, which is quite a good battery symbol. Some of the symbols do enlarge, so we can make them a little bit bigger again. Like if I tap on that battery symbol, it does come up on the full screen. So again, we can just get our sort of nice big symbol there to check our battery level should we need. I tap on the about, it just tells us our software version of the device. So it's more of a technical piece of information for us as a supplier rather than someone as an end user. Okay, so I'll just go back to look at that camera again, and as I mentioned, that we can have the full page of text to speech. Okay, and what I'm just going to zoom or push the device away a little further and just tilt my camera, because on the top of the device, which I'll just try and get into focus for you, there's a contrast on the very top of the device. So we've got a black edge to the top of our screen, and then there's a blue and silver stripe. This is an additional camera arm that opens out, and I'll just push it away from us, just so we've got that, and I'll just lift that just so we can get that there. So we've got an additional camera that's come out on there, and then what we can do is just align what we want read to us with the camera arm, and then it can read a page or a passage back to us. Okay, but this camera is actually a live camera. So what you can do, so I've just got my hand just to the side where the text is, just here, and it's showing, if I had a pen, which I'm not prepared and haven't got a pen, but you can use this device to write, because it's giving you a live feed of what you're doing just under here. So very helpful when it comes to reading and writing at the same time. So if we were doing a word puzzle, etc., you can follow your clue, for example, or zoom in on what you're viewing if you had a word puzzle, and then follow that across and then write that down, and you can follow that. Very useful, particularly if we're right-handed. Okay, if you're left-handed like me, it's a little bit more tricky because the camera is angled on the right-hand side of the device. So if you are left-handed, it is a little bit trickier. But if you're right-handed, you can just angle the device and the page to work in sync, and then you can just follow with your pen across on there. Okay, so what I wanted to do is just fold that camera back and just show the third camera on this one. It does provide an amount of distance viewing as well. So I've just closed the base, and I'll just spin that round just so we can see the very back of that, and I'll just open that up and just give you a side profile of the device. And there's just a stand that's built in, which is perfectly angled for the magnification camera. But when we keep the device on and just close that, it does then give us a distance view. Okay, so at the moment, as I'm sat at my kitchen table, there's not too much of a distance view straight ahead of me, but you can use it just to scan across the room. If we wanted to sort of check the clock, you can then zoom in on what's in front of us. Okay, so quite a useful tool, and much easier when you keep it steady if you are resting it on it, because it is a live camera. It does need to be kept a little bit steadier if we can do so. Okay, I will just find the passage in the brochure for the Compact 10 and just let it read some of the text about that particular device back to us. Okay, so, and I picked up the wrong catalogue because it's last year's one that hasn't got the Compact 10 in, so I'm just finding the information about that, and then it will read that back to us. Then there we go. Okay, right, so I'm just going to open that camera arm back out again and just zoom right out. So I've just used those controls that I spoke about a little bit earlier, so just aligning the base of the bottom of the front screen to the corner of the page, and it just zooms right out. And if I just tap the screen just to get that to disappear, I know I've just got the full page in. In the advert, it is split across 2 pages, so probably not as easy as it could be to read this back, but we'll give it a go. So I'm just going to press the button in the middle, which is the one that takes the picture of the text and then reads it back to us. Okay, so that has now just captured that image, and then it's just going to process that. We've got a progress bar just running across the top of the screen now, and now that's just going to run through that. So I'm just going to let the Compact 10 rise. The Compact 10. So I'm just going to pause that. So this is at the moment is set to the British English gentleman's voice, and it's just processing the speech. There's a little bit of gobbledygook on there because it's actually read some of the text that's split across the page, but we can set it to only read full columns if we want it to, rather than read just part columns. So I do need to change that setting on this one to make that a little bit easier to follow. And when it's taken the picture and process the text, we can actually follow it on the screen if we want to. Okay, so you can change your color contrast like you would if you were viewing it in magnification mode, but you can have it read back to you as it would. Okay, so I'm just going to fold that back, and that's that one. So that's the compact 10 in a little bit of a nutshell, but we can come back to that and sort of answer any specific questions a little bit later if we want. But something else that disconnected. So I haven't is fully charged. So I haven't changed voice. That's the Orcam Read device that I've just picked up, which is a new offering from Orcam. So you may be aware of the original Orcam device, the MyEye or MyEye Pro as it's known now, which connects to the side of your glasses, which is a purely text-to-speech device. And the MyEye itself, you can program for facial recognition, so it can recognize people's faces once we program them in. It can you can use it around your kitchen. If you look into your cupboards, you can tap the device on the MyEye to take a picture of what's in your cupboard, and it will read the labels of your food. It can also read just barcodes, so it can tell you what a product is from a barcode. Some barcodes are pre-loaded onto the Orcam database when the device is ready to go out the box. Some particularly own brand products from supermarkets and shops, so your sort of Co-op own brand, your Sainsbury's own brand, Tesco's own brand maybe, might not be on there. So, but you can add those barcodes yourself. So if there's a particular brand of beans, like a Sainsbury's own brand baked beans that you were buying regularly, you could program that for the Orcam MyEye. Okay, whereas the Orcam Read is the newer version. Okay, so a little bit bigger because it's been designed to hold in the hand rather than connect to the side of your glasses. Okay, and this is a handheld text-to-speech product, which I fitted the little lanyard with it just to show you, so you can keep that around your neck when you're using it, because there's plenty of length in that when you're using it to point it in the direction of what we want read to us. Again, you can change your voices on the Orcam Read, so you can have a male or female voice, and you can change it to other languages should we speak other European languages. You can have those added on accordingly. But this is just a more basic or straightforward device compared to the original version of the Orcam. So this is much more of a point and go, scan and go style device. And I'll just show you a couple of features on this. I'll just find the Orcam page in our brochure, and then it can read things that are relative to the device back to us. Okay, so I will just tilt the device over. Probably the best way to describe the size of an Orcam is it's a little bit like a Stanley knife or a marker pen in size. So probably a marker pen is probably a better and sort of safer comparison of what it's like. And it's just gone off because I switched it on, and then we haven't used it, so it's just gone into battery preserve mode. So it's just trying to save its battery as much as it can. So if you switch it on but it's inactive, it will just go to sleep and just need waking up when you want to use it. Okay, so you don't have to worry so much about it draining battery constantly. Okay, but I'm just going to spin it around. So this one is pretty difficult to describe or sort of show you the controls on a video call, because it works much more on touch, because Orcam have designed the buttons all to be the same color. So very much works on a touch only, or sort of feel for familiarity of the buttons. But there are only 4 buttons on this particular device. On the MyEye, their previous version that fits to the side of glasses, there is only 1 button on that, which is a on and off button on the back of the device, and then the other controls are all on a sort of touch bar, which is a sort of slide bar, so a little bit more like a touch screen magnifier or iPad or smartphone, etc. Okay, whereas on this we've got actual buttons. So there were a few people when we started taking the carrying the Orcam products within our range of products that found the MyEye Pro just a little bit more complicated for what they need, whereas this is a slightly more stripped down version, which is a little bit more user friendly for those that only want to use it as a sort of scan and go device, rather for sort of long periods of reading. This works really very well. Okay, so going back to the buttons, at the very back there's where our charging port goes, so where our USB-C connector goes in, which is a really nice style of connector, because it doesn't matter which way round we pop it in, it's symmetrical. So it, unlike the older style of the micro USB that have to go in a particular way, the USB-C can go in either way round, so nice and easy to get it on charge. And there is also an on and off button just in front of that charging port, and then there's 4 LED lights which just indicate how full or empty the battery is, whereas this one is pretty much charged because it's got 4 lights on at the moment. Okay, and then sliding on from that, we've got a plus and minus button which increase and decrease our volume, and I'll just press one of those now. So volume down, and it's on the maximum volume. This particular device does have a built-in speaker, just like the Compact 10 as I kept it on. The Orcam Read does come with a little set of headphones, so it comes with a set of wired headphones, because there is a slot for them just on the back. So if you're out shopping, certainly when it's safe to do so again, really good idea just to mute it, and as soon as you put those headphones in, it mutes the loudspeaker. So you don't sort of have to be conscious of those around you with the device talking back. If you are someone that's into gadgets, it can connect to Bluetooth headphones as well. If you had a set of sort of AirPods from Apple or a similar sort of wireless Bluetooth headphone setting, this can actually link to a Bluetooth speaker or Bluetooth headphones as well. And that's the same for the Orcam MyEye Pro. So that can also link to a Bluetooth adaptable device. And also if someone wears hearing aids as well, if they're a modern style of hearing aid with Bluetooth capability, which a lot of the digital modern hearing aids do, you can have the sound coming from the device boomed right to the ear via the hearing aid. So again, a really nice feature on that. So moving on from the increase and decrease volume button, there is a pointer or capture button at the front, which is our which will sort of point a light. So I'm just going to tilt our brochure just in front of us and just try and align this and just show you there's a red box which just lights up what we want captured. So I'm just going to take a picture of just at the top of the brochure there.
Just point, press and listen. Perfect for those at home, work and school. Great tool, those with moderate low visio. E2 Optlec cuts. Skipped one line of unreadable.
So that was my fault for misaligning the device there, but it didn't quite capture the texted plan. But it does, when we are going to capture a passage of text, it does just show up a pointer and a block, particularly when we're in a slightly darker lit room. You can see that red box a little bit easier. Okay, and depending on if you hold the device closer or further away from what you want read back to you, that will be the size of what it will capture and then read back to us. Okay, so that's the the slightly more complex pieces of kit that we offer with regards to text to speech, etc. And we do some slightly more straightforward devices like the Ruby from Freedom Scientific, which is a more traditional pocket-sized electronic magnifying device. And I'll just change the colors just on this. That's looking at the text on this. This is a pocket-sized device that you could use around the home to read your post when it comes in. Again, your food packaging instructions, etc., like that. This is, I'll just give you a sideways profile on that. So this is set at an angle to read the page behind it very, very nicely, and that's locked in that open position. But you can just push it flat and then just fold out the little handle. So it has actually a 2-position handle. Okay, so one locked in for an angle like that, and then just across you can have a straight handle just there. So if you were using it out and about in the shops or around the house, you can just slide across what you want read to you and just follow that across, if you weren't sort of sat at a desk where you could then just open it up and use it in its more straightforward manner. Okay, so this being a smaller device of a 5-inch screen, will only go up to around 12 times magnification, whereas with optical magnification, it's the polar opposite of with the electronic magnification, it's the polar opposite of optical magnification. So the bigger the screen and the area that we use to read, the increased level of magnification we get with electronic devices. Whereas with the optical devices, because of the laws of physics and distortions we get from the higher powered lenses, the aperture of a sort of 10 or 12 times magnifier is much smaller in comparison. Whereas with the electronic magnifiers, the bigger the screen, so big desktop style devices with 24-inch monitors can go up to between 76 and 100 times magnification. But once we sort of reach that sort of level of magnification, I would look to recommend text to speech magnifiers rather than just magnification alone, just because it'd be a little bit trickier to follow with less words on the page per device there. Okay, so that's a couple of the products spoken about just there. I'm just going to reverse my camera back and just ask if there are any questions that I can answer about this or other products we do, or other services that Optlec offer.
Yes. Some of the things I want to read have got very poor contrast on the text. So it might be one color text on top of another color, which I can't read unaided. How does your device perform in those situations?
Yeah, so if I just turn my camera back onto the back facing camera and just show you the device there again. So I'm just alternating my screen so I can see what I want this to do. I'm just going to so on the front of our brochure, we've got the 4 brands that Optlec and Enhanced Vision are part of. So Enhanced Vision, Optlec, Freedom Scientific, and also Schweitzer magnifiers. But there's lots of colors there, because each color of the brand has a different color to stand out. So we've got green, red, and 2 shades of blue. Whereas if I pop that on there and then put our device over it, it will, no matter what color the text, it will change it to the 2 core colors. Okay, so that's our natural color. So we've got the red, blue, and green, but then it will only come out in whatever color is on there. So I'm just aligning that, so the swipes is now on the yellow, the blue, whatever color we have it on. Okay, so we got a few pixels with it changing color, because when it's trying to change a color to just 2, when we're overriding the contrast on the electronic devices, it's constantly fighting to know which color to change them to. Okay, so it will on the whole get you what you want with regards to color, but you may just have a little bit of shadowing because it's just trying to change those colors. So it's just which way it goes. If they're a little bit darker or lighter to start with, it might just struggle to get them. But when it's settled on there, it will just change to what we want them to. Okay. So I'll just spin back to me again. Hopefully that's answered that relatively well. Did that answer your question there?
It did, yeah. And when it comes to the angle that you can have the device relative to the sheet of paper, are there many restrictions on that? Does it preserves perspective, presumably?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the smaller device, so the Ruby that I've had in front of me just here, it does have that stand. So put it on that side profile there again. So that on flat surfaces working at an optimum distance for the camera to then magnify. But when we've got the stand closed and we're using it on the handle, whichever position it's in, it will have a level of autofocus to zoom in and out. So I'll just reverse that back again just to show you that. So it's just switching back on. So just trying the lines, just alter my angles to hopefully get that there. So I've just got that pretty close to the page, almost touching. And it's just not quite as clear, but just taking it away a little bit, it's come back into focus. And then as we take it away again, it's still just about until it gets to a point and it just becomes a little more tricky. So it generally works pretty well from about 1 inch to 1.5 inches away from a page up until about 1 foot away. They do sort of vary from device to device. So some will work a little bit closer to a product, your target, your page, whatever it may be that we're reading, than others there. Okay.
What was the screen diagonal size of the first device you showed us?
The first device, the compact 10 inches.
All right, it is a 10 inch.
So compact 10-inch device. So that's what I would consider the largest of our more portable devices. So we do very big desktop devices, but as I'm at home today, I'm a little bit more restricted on space for having that out. But it is a slightly bigger device, so we would need a sort of desk or an office space to have a device like that, which is why devices like the Compact 10 are becoming that little bit more popular, because not everyone necessarily has the space to store and then operate a desktop device anymore. But also the levels of magnification that the Compact 10 and similar devices go up to now, they work well enough for most people to, again, not need the desktop device. And particularly the Compact 10 with the fold out camera, allowing people to write as well. So doing word quizzes and puzzles, so your Sudoku puzzles, crosswords, etc. People have even sort of threaded a needle, etc., with the camera, maybe splinters, or even vanity is painting our nails, and we can use to do that on the side camera on the Compact 10. So it's a sort of nice adaptable device there. So there is one a little bit bigger than the Compact 10 we do called the Traveller from Optlec, and that is a 14-inch device, so a little bit wider, and a little bit heavier to carry around, but it is still not necessarily as portable, but it is still possible to move it around compared to the very big devices. And the Traveller is about the size of a laptop computer. Okay, just to give you a perspective of sort of size on that one. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any further questions?
Hi, Lisa, Isle of Wight. Do you, or do Optlec offer any kind of upgrade trade-in? So, for example, we've got people with a Ruby 7, and if they wanted to go to the Ruby 10 with the speech recognition, do you offer any kind of trade-in or upgrade?
The short answer is no. Just from taking sort of used products back, depending on how long they've had them for. So if they've had them for a very short period, so everything from Optlec and Enhanced Vision is available with a 2-week return policy. And during the pandemic that we're in at the moment, we can be a little bit more flexible with that, because we know it's difficult to get things back to us. But anything a little bit older, it's pretty tricky. So unfortunately, we don't sort of offer a trade-in on products like that.
Okay.
Sorry, Lisa. So any further questions?
Perhaps you can tell us the prices.
Yeah, so I did skip around that conveniently. So the reason being is a lot of the prices vary so much with regards to throughout the year. Okay, so some of the prices change throughout the year. So the first product that I showed you, the Compact 10, that is available in 2 forms, with and without the text-to-speech module. So they work in exactly the same way. They both have the 3 cameras. They have the tilt-out arm, but the non-speech version just won't read a passage of text back to you, but it does everything else that the other one does. And the non-speech version, so the more basic version of the 2, is £995, so just under £1,000, and the version with speech is £1,495, so it's £500 difference. So with and without the speech there. And the second device that I mentioned was the Orcam Read device. So the portable device that we can take out shopping with us. That's coming in £1,500, so 1500 for the Orcam Read, which is under half the price of its sort of bigger smaller brother. So the Orcam My Eye, which is the original version, but it is smaller, but it's the one that's been out a little bit longer. And the reason it's a little bit more than the Read is it does have some advanced features, so that's what makes it a little bit more expensive in comparison. But for a portable text-to-speech reader, the Orcam Read has proved pretty popular at the £1,500 price point there. And the last one that I spoke about, the Ruby XL, which is actually our sort of best-selling product in the UK because of its versatility with the stand and the 2-position handle. They've actually lowered the price on that, so it used to be priced at £599, so just under 600, and it's come down to £399, so quite a good saving on that. They launched from the summer onwards, and that's the current price for 2021 as well, going forward. So £399 for that one. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.